Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a review and a demo on the new concealers by Makeup Revolution. They are called Conceal and Define, Full Coverage Conceal and Contour, and altogether I've got 6 shades to show you, and I will be doing a demo of the ones which suit my skin tone as well. So these retail at £4, which is really affordable. Makeup Revolution is a very affordable brand. Now, for some very strange reason which I don't understand, everybody seems to be doing their reviews and comparing this to the Tarte Shape Tape. To save anybody asking me any questions, the only thing that compares to the Tarte Shape Tape is the shape of the bottle and the doe foot applicator, and that's it. I don't think that there is any comparison at all. Tarte Shape Tape is a very different concealer, and I personally would not call this a dupe. I would say that the bottle is a dupe. So anyway, let me first show you what the actual bottle and applicator looks like itself. So this is what the bottle looks like. It's just a standard tube, to be honest. Nothing special, nothing amazing. Just says Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define on it. And it's in a plastic container. And then this is what the doe foot applicator looks like. Very similar to Tarte Shape Tape. Maybe only slightly different. And that is the only comparison I would say that can be made in terms of the applicator. But I find it very easy and to apply. You can cover larger areas without having to go backwards and forwards into the tube. So what their claims are is that it is a concealer for everyone. There are 18 shades altogether, which is amazing. And it ranges from fair to deep in cool, neutral and warm undertones. Lightweight yet full coverage concealer to cover blemishes, even skin tone and counteract dark circles, with a matte finish that won't settle or accentuate fine lines and pores. Long wearing intense pigment that can also be used to contour and add definition. Our large doe foot applicator allows for smooth application that won't drag on the delicate skin under your eyes. So, do I agree with those claims? Well, lightweight, yes it is. It's got a very light texture to it, very kind of soft mousse-like, so it doesn't feel very thick. But then I also find that because it is quite lightweight, it doesn't give that full coverage that it claims to have. It says it is full coverage. I personally don't feel that it is. Now, when I have applied it, and I normally wear 2 shades under my eyes, I can still see a hint of my natural darkness under my eyes. Now, with the Tarte Shape Tape, I don't get that. With the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer, which is also full coverage, I do not get that. So, why this is claimed to be full coverage, I'm not sure. I would personally call it a medium coverage. And even though I can build it up, I can still see my slight darkness underneath my eyes. Now, I don't, as you can see, I've got my foundation on, which is why I look kind of pale right now. I don't have any other makeup on other than on my eyes. But underneath my eyes, you can see my dark circles quite clearly. Now, are they hideously bad dark circles that makes me look like I got punched in the eyes? No, I've got moderate dark circles. Now, if this is not able to cover it, then how can you really claim to say that it is full coverage? It has a matte finish. Yes, I would agree. However, I do always set my under eye area with a powder, and it says that it won't settle or accentuate fine lines and pores. Pores, I would definitely say, does not accentuate on my face. I don't have fine lines underneath my eyes yet, but I do have normal eyeball lines like everybody has. The bigger your eyes, the more likely you are to have lines under your eyes. Now, I find that if I leave this on its own, yes, it does settle within those lines and accentuates them. But when I set it with powder, and the powder that I've actually been using, funnily enough, is the Makeup Revolution Luxury Powder, the banana shade. It leaves a very smooth, very natural finish, and then I don't get any creasing or any movement throughout the day. Now, if I was not to set it, yes, it would move, and yes, it would crease under my eyes. So please bear in mind that when you do apply a concealer under your eyes, to make sure that you do set it. A little bit does go a long way with this, and the shade range I would say is okay. I personally don't find the shades. I bought 4 concealing shades and 2 contour shades. Out of all of the concealing shades, 4, I don't find any of them to have enough yellow in it. So when it says things like there are cool, neutral and warm undertones, I do question that slightly, because I can't go any lower because the shades are too light, and I can't go any higher because then the shades would actually be too dark for my skin tone. Bear in mind, like I said, I've got 6 shades here and 4 of them are concealing shades. So the shades that I bought because I bought them online and unfortunately I didn't find their swatches or descriptions to be that good. I got 4 of them. I got the shade C6, C7, C8 and C10. And the shades that work best for me, C10 is almost a perfect match for my skin tone. So I apply it under the eyes. And then I take C8, which is a little bit lighter. I dot it under here and I place it on the high points of my face because it is slightly lighter and it illuminates my skin. If I was to use C7 or C6, they are much too pale for my skin. All of these shades seem to have quite a lot of beige in them and they're quite cool in undertone. I don't find any of them to be yellowy or warm enough for my skin tone. So basically that means that there is no perfect shade for anybody who is around my skin tone and has got yellow warm undertones to their skin. Now the other 2 shades which I bought for the purposes of contouring is C16 and C14. I've not actually used C14 yet. I use C16. If you guys saw one of my recent tutorials, you saw me go overboard with it. Oh my god, it was so dark. And then when I realized that, I went and bought C14 instead. To contour, you get a really beautiful natural contour. Don't get me wrong, these have got a good amount of pigment in it, but it's more in terms of the coverage that I have an issue with under the eyes. However, to use it as a contouring shade is perfectly fine. When you use liquid contours, it gives a very natural finish to the skin, because using powder contours, obviously powder is a bit more unnatural. Personally, I prefer powder contours to cream contours. I find cream contours to be a bit of a faff. You know, you place it on, you blend it, set it, do this, that and the other. Whereas with a powder contour, you just did it and you're done. You know, at the end of the day, we are in a world where it's go, 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 fast, 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 and we want things yesterday. So when it comes to cream contouring, bear in mind that I personally prefer this when I'm going for more glam looks, when I want to have a cream contour and then layer the powder on top, and when I've got a little bit of extra time to get ready in the day as well. It says that they are made in Taiwan, designed and developed in London. They have a 12-month lifespan and it is 0.11 fluid ounces, which is 3.4 mil. Let's be honest, for £4 you're not going to really quibble, are you? So alright, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you swatches of all the 6 that I've got before I show you a demo on my face, just so that you can see up close what the shades themselves look like. In MAC, I'm an NC40. Right now, I'm wearing the brand new NARS Radiant Longwear Foundation, whatever it's called, in the shade Barcelona. I am at my palest at the moment. So I'm going to swatch these for you on my hand. My hand is the same color as my face because, like I said, there's no sun in London. It's grey and dull and raining and it's January. So hopefully you should be able to see them true to color on my skin tone. So this shade is C6. As you can see, it's almost white on my skin tone. It's got a lot of beige undertones to it and it's very cool. Above it is C7. As you can see, it's got a little bit more warmth to it than C6. But again, and take my word for it, this is still a little bit too light for my personal liking. Now, if you are my skin tone, yes, you can get away with wearing it as an under eye concealer, but it will brighten your face a bit too much that it won't match the rest of your face. Now above it is C8. As you can see how it compares to the other 2, it's a little bit darker. There's a little bit more peach and yellow to it, and this is the shade that I use as an illuminating concealer and to highlight the high points of my face. And then the shade above is C10. Again, you can see this one is a little bit more warm and you can see that it almost blends into my skin tone, which is why that and the shade below it work perfectly to conceal areas on my face as well as to highlight. And now underneath the contouring shade is a shade C14. As you can see, it's not too dark, it's not too light for my skin tone and would work perfectly as a contouring shade. And then above it, you can see C16 and you can see why I was stupid to buy it thinking it would match me for contouring. This is what happens when you buy things online. But this one is a lot more rich in tone. It's definitely a lot warmer than C14, which is a little bit cooler. But the shades that I'm going to show you that I'm going to use today are going to be C14, C10 and C8. The others we are going to leave off, but this is just so that I could show you guys what these all look like on my medium skin tone. And as you can see, they're starting to dry as well and they do not oxidize, they dry true to color. and they don't dry quickly, but then they don't dry slowly as well. So these glide onto the skin. They're very easy to blend out. They're very mousse-like as well. It doesn't take a lot for you to get what you want out of this. Because of the applicator, it makes it very easy to apply. And then I tend to use a beauty blender to blend it all out. And in terms of the contour shade, I did use a beauty blender when I first used this in my last makeup tutorial, but I actually find using a little dense kind of brush makes it easier to blend out. You've got more control as well, because obviously a beauty blender is quite fat and stumpy, and with contouring you don't want it to end up in places where you don't want it to be. So I prefer to use a brush for that, and then for the rest of the face I will use a concealer. So the first shade that I'm going to use is the shade C10, and I'm going to conceal under my eyes. A nice hefty layer right there, and then I'm going to use the shade C7 and just dot it underneath, and that's that. And then I'm going to use the contour shade, which is C14, to suck in your cheekbones and then draw a tiny little line. Don't go overboard, because it is cream. You can drag it forwards and distribute the product more evenly. Contour a little bit around the nose. Can also tidy up again using concealer later. A little bit around the head. Notice that I'm not going back into the tube itself. I'm just using what is on the end of the brush. Little bit around here to cover any fatness from all the eating I've been doing. And that is it. You should look beautiful like moi. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do to make it easier is to blend out the contour shade. And I'm using a Makeup Revolution brush called The Queen, as it's a nice dense brush. And as you can see, as I didn't apply loads and loads of the product, I'm easily able to drag it around, and this creates a nice naturally contoured finish, as natural as you can be with makeup obs. So around the forehead, doesn't matter if you get a bit of concealer as in the lighter shade into it, because it's all going to blend into each other anyway. And then I will use the beauty blender just to sort out any other bits. See what I mean when I say it takes ages doing this? That's the only thing with cream contours. Around the nose. That's why it's easier using a brush to do this than a beauty blender, because that way you can be more precise. This is fun. It's very emollient. Alright, so now I'm going to use a damp beauty blender, and I'm going to blend out all the concealer. And then just blend this into the darker contour bits on the forehead so that it's all a bit seamless. So this is what it looks like, completely finished. Yes, I know it looks a little bit untidy, but I will be tidying that up when I apply powder and whatnot. So let me just take a little bit more of that brown shade that's left over on the brush, just to make it a little bit neater, because obviously when it's cream it moves, especially when it's not been set yet. Okay. So for the eyes, I'm going to use the Makeup Revolution Luxury Powder in the shade Banana. And I'm just going to tip it into the lid. Nice, decent amount. And then I'm going to use my Real Techniques contour brush, and I'm going to set it quite heavily, because at the end of the day, it is a liquid. And I barely let it, I don't really tend to bake. Bake means leaving it for a while. That's how you end up with dryness under the eyes and crepiness. Now I'm just going to brush it off. So it was barely on there for what, 30 seconds? and that will set it and lock it in. So now under the eyes, looks great. I mean, I can still see a little bit of darkness, like I said, and you guys saw yourself. I didn't apply one, but I applied 2 concealers under the eyes. And there was enough product there as well to blend it all out, but it just does not give me that coverage that I personally like. Now for the face, because I haven't actually set my foundation, I'm just going to use this F40 powder brush by Sigma and just lightly go over everything. Just to set the foundation, because the foundation needs setting. Very, very lightly. And now I am going to set the contour. I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit, and the shade that I tend to use is this one called Java. And I'm going to use this Sigma large angled contour F40 brush. Very, very, very lightly. This is not about adding more colour, it's about setting the contour. And now just to tidy it up, because I can see that my contour is a little bit too low in both areas, I'm going to use this Morphe M459 contour brush, and the remainder of this Makeup Revolution powder, I'm just going to cut the crease. And then just brush it all off and blend it out. And voila, that's it. What do you guys think? Looks nice, looks natural, looks okay. My face feels lovely and soft and smooth. I don't see any pores that have been accentuated, any lines under my eyes. And trust me, when I apply concealer, I can start creasing within like seconds if I don't set it. So it looks really, really nice under the eyes and as a contour as well. So I'm just going to finish off the rest of my makeup, and I will be back in a second to finish off the review. Okay, so I am back. The rest of my face is done. For those of you that'll be wondering, on my lips I'm wearing this liquid lipstick by Colourpop. It's called Take a Pixie. It's from their holiday collection. It's still available now. So as you can see, once everything is done, it all comes together. It all looks lovely. Overall, I would give this concealer a 7 out of 10. I will not give it a 10 like I gave Shape Tape. I just feel like I'm kind of being pressured into mentioning Shape Tape because so many other people on YouTube have done that comparison. I personally do not feel that there is a comparison. I own both. Tarte Shape Tape is one of my favourite concealers. This is not going to be one of my favourite concealers. I can still see underneath my eyes. It just does not give that same amount of coverage. I'm not saying that this is a bad concealer. I'm not saying it's a rubbish concealer. It's a pretty damn good concealer. For £4, honestly, I can't complain. So on that note, I'm going to leave you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this review and demo. If you've got any comments or questions about the concealer in particular, let me know below. Other than that, I hope you guys are wonderful and great, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.